Good evening. I'll tell you, from our announcements and even from our prayer, we notice that there's a lot of things that are happening. A lot of things, a lot of works that are coming very soon, swift approaching. And it made me think about, especially our prayer session coming up on Friday and our door knocking on Saturday. From what place does our work for the Lord come? I was talking to a preacher friend of mine today, and in fact, we were talking about a mission work that they were supporting, and I was asking him about it, and he got into a discussion of the focus for their year, and he was talking about Martha and Mary, and it got me thinking about where does our work come from as far as working for the Lord. And so I'd like for us to look at Luke 10, 38 through 42. And it was funny, when we were having the conversation, it continued, and I said, man, I need to be working on my devotional for tonight. And as we're sitting there discussing the work of the Lord and mission work, he goes into this. I said, well, there's the devotional. Luke 10, 38. Now, as they went on their way, Jesus entered a village, and a woman named Martha welcomed him into her house. And she had a sister called Mary, who sat at the Lord's feet and listened to his teaching. But Martha was distracted with much serving, and she went up to him and said, Lord, do you not care that my sister has left me to serve alone? Tell her then to help me. But the Lord answered her, Martha, Martha, you are anxious and troubled about many things. But one thing is necessary. Mary has chosen the good portion, which will not be taken away from her. Now, we could sit here and say, Jesus is saying we shouldn't get to work. We should sit at his feet and learn. And I think we do a lot of that. We sit and we learn and we grow and we gain knowledge. But this is not why Jesus is saying this. He is answering she is answering Martha in her statement. And she's saying, Lord, do you not care? First of all, Jesus does care. Do you not care that my sister has left me to serve alone? You see, she was serving the Lord. She was working for the Lord. She was doing many things for the Lord. And Jesus even says, Martha, Martha, you are anxious and troubled about many things. She allowed being anxious and troubled for serving the Lord to cloud her mind to the point that she asked Jesus if he didn't care. But what he's saying is Mary has chosen the better thing, because if Martha had sat and listened and sat at the feet of Jesus, the work that she did for Jesus would have come as a result, not as a purpose. And so there is something when it comes to choosing to serve God, it's got to come from the result of having learned from him, coming as a result of having loved and given him our all. When we love God with all of our heart, soul, mind, and strength, we will love our neighbor as ourselves. That has to come as a result. It is not our purpose. And so that's really where I believe Luke 10, 38 through 42 is. It's getting the purpose and the result reversed. It's not saying that it's wrong to work. It's not saying that we should only sit and listen and just feed ourselves. No, feeding others will come as a result of feeding ourselves. Ephesians 2, 8 beginning says, For by grace you have been saved through faith. And this is not your own doing, it is the gift of God. So if we've tasted the gift of God and we've received the grace of God, notice it says, verse 9, not a result of works, so that no one may boast. But verse 10 says, for we are his workmanship. So whose work is it that we're talking about with Trunk or Treat? Whose work is it that we're talking about with Men's Retreat? Whose work is it that we're talking about with our prayer session and our door knocking? It's the work of the Lord. And we're his workmanship. And so where does the work fit in for us? We're created in Christ Jesus. That's the purpose. For good works, that's the result, which God prepared beforehand that we should walk in them. As a result of being in Christ, we should all walk in the work of the Lord. So the question for you tonight is, are you His workmanship? Are you finding opportunities to serve Him? Make sure that it's coming from a place of being in Christ first and foremost, and as a result, we share the grace of God with everyone. Saturday, we get a chance to walk in those works, walk in His workmanship. But remember, it comes from a place of the result of sitting at the feet of Jesus, the result of grace given to us. Help us extend this grace to one more person. So I want you to think about this. And so often, I think if we get that reversed, we think it's based on maybe from a place of guilt, maybe from a place of, well, I better earn my salvation. No, that is not the case. God has given us salvation. As a result, we extend that to more and more people. But in a moment, we're extending another invitation. An invitation to make sure that we're not getting our purpose and result mixed, that we're not getting our cart before the horse, that we're making sure that our life is right with God, because we're not going to be able to help anyone unless we've helped ourselves first. Can we help you to make sure your life is right with God? If you are subject to the Lord's invitation, pray you'll come while together we stand and as we sing.
There's a